Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're getting into part 5 of Maestro, and there are so many parts throughout this series that really just make you think like, man, so this is how it went down. Because time after time, issue after issue, something crazy unexpected happens, and issue 5 is no exception, so let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch your spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so in our last talk we left off with the shocking surprise of the Hulk using vapor to seduce and kill Hercules, which was kind of the perfect setup because the Hulk knew that once Hercules had seen her, he was gonna then try to get her alone, which then was the perfect staging because this way it was out of the sight of the people of Dystopia. And in the case of Vapor, he quickly got rid of her as soon as it was done, with freezing her, shattering her to a bunch of pieces, and just spreading her remains around the outer parts of the city, seemingly effectively taking care of any loose ends as far as her coming back. But with the Hulk doing this, he then gives their Hercules, or their Maestro, a leader or a king's farewell, and he intentionally does this part publicly because with doing this and showing the people that their Maestro or their leader is dead, he then knows that he immediately has their attention as an audience to more or less talk them into the well, I guess I'll just take over from here kind of speech, regardless of it being too soon or anything. But when he does this, and he makes it very theatrical of course, like burning Hercules at the stake, like he went for the whole visual. But when he does this, he tells the people like, well, okay, the king's dead, time to move on. And with moving on, I'm gonna lead you to wherever you're moving on to. Like he was real slick with it, got straight to the point. But with doing this, there was then this one guy who was kind of just like, wait, hold on a minute, wait a minute. Like, I hear what you're saying about the whole leadership thing, you're not wrong, but why should it be you? Like, shouldn't we take a vote or something? Like, shouldn't there be an election? And while this is happening, like Rick and his granddaughter are watching with what appears to be some of Peter Parker's old surveillance tech, and when they see this dude step up and say this, they're like, okay, yeah, he gonna die. Because I'm telling you, like right when this dude said this, like the look in the Hulk's eyes, like it's a moment within itself. Because after that one guy spoke up, another person and another one stepped up like, yeah, he's right, yeah, we should. And for a brief moment the Hulk is quiet. Like I can imagine for that moment him thinking like, you motherfucker, you just had to say something. Because had that one dude not started like the snowball effect of people second guessing him, the Hulk might have just eased his way up to the throne. But now with the people, not just one guy, but the people suggesting an election, at first the Hulk is like, okay, yeah, an election like y'all did with Maestro, which is kind of a good point because when Hercules came down to save the people, there wasn't an election. He just kind of just stepped in to rule. And I mean, first to help, then the rule. But even still, it was different with Hercules because he didn't put the people in this position to need saving. But the Hulk, he doesn't want to go through all them details. He's just like, you know what, take it up with my dogs. Where my dogs at? And he sends the dogs of war after these people who challenge him at taking the seat of Maestro. And when it happens, like I believe just the first dude who spoke up got chomped down, which is kind of messed up. But as soon as this happens, like before the dogs of war can get to tearing all these people to pieces, the Cord then steps in using a laser cannon which she had brought from Rick's collection that was originally designed by Forge to kill the Hulk. And when this happens, like I know it's bad probably that I'm saying this, but she wasted her first shot. Like she should have used that first shot and just shot the Hulk. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be all kind of opinions in the comments, but I don't care because when she let out that first shot, she gave up her position, allowing the Hulk to punch the ground, shake things up, and just like that the opportunity's gone. But on the other hand, I get it because she saved lives taking out one of the dogs of war, but even still it's like, you could have just shot the Hulk. Opportunity missed, and eventually down the line we know she's gonna pay for it. But when this happens, the Hulk, he then recognizes the Cord, and when he sees her, immediately he just thinks like, oh, Rick Jones sent you to kill me, huh? Which is a conclusion he draws solely just off of seeing her and knowing who her allegiance is with, because Rick gave the order for Janice to bring the Cord back, and little did he know that the Cord was out there with the Hulk killer gun. But that's not even it, because before the Hulk even gets a chance to retaliate, he hears the name Banner screamed on his 6, and he turns around and it's Hercules, back from the dead, burning with vengeance, and not like a spirit of vengeance, but I mean kind of like a spirit of vengeance. just minus Mephisto and Zarathos. But in this case, when Hercules comes back, he tells the Hulk that Hades is doing him a favor by allowing him to come back from the dead in order to seek his vengeance. And when this happens, you can just cue the oh no meme music, because the look on the Hulk's face just says it all. Because it's not only just the fact of Hercules coming back from the dead, which within itself is not something to be brushed over, because that's no small feat within itself. But then you add on top of it, like, the Hulk could not beat Hercules the last time they fought, so it's like, how are you gonna kill this guy again now in front of all these people? To where once again, in front of all these people, Hercules is telling everything, and not so much like in a way that he's saying it so everybody can hear. It's more so like he's talking and, you know, this dude on fire, let's listen. But while he's slapping the Hulk around and just destroying the dog's war, he lets the Hulk know, like, you're gonna pay for what you did, with sending in Vapor to kill him because he couldn't do it himself. And Hercules even tells him, like, man, I thought better of you. And I ain't gonna front, like, when he said that, I was like, dang, Hulk, you ain't feel that? Because he more or less saying that you ain't the man that you used to be. But even at the same time, really, with the Hulk that Banner has become at this point, he's just really come to the place to where he really just justifies the means with the end. And even still, he doesn't take too kindly to being called a coward, but even still, most of that other man I used to be talk, he could care less about, just as long as he gets to the ending or that win or that victory that he has his eyes set on. But even with him fighting against Hercules here, he's still outmatched as far as strength, because the Hulk that he's become at this stage is just no comparison for Hercules. And because of that, Hercules dominates once again and he goes for the killing blow, but he's then shot in the back by the Hulk killer gun, which effectively kills Hercules, sending him right back to Hades. And I'm pretty sure when he got there, Hades was like, hey man, you get that vengeance, bro? And Hercules was like, nah man, send me back. And Hades was like, nope, that's a one and done. But then it's quickly that we find out that it was the minister who had shot Hercules. And he tells Banner, like, look, I didn't like that guy no way. Which was kind of expected from the minister, because we knew he was going to side with the Hulk eventually. But with the way it was executed, like here and now, and the minister performing the kill shot on Hercules, like, that was extremely unexpected. But at the same time, if he didn't do it, the story might have just ended here. But it didn't. And since the Hulk is still alive, he then makes it very clear that he's going for Rick Jones next. And when he leaves there and goes directly to Rick Jones, like, Rick Jones done clean up shop. And I'm telling you, like, they moved all that stuff out of there so quick. Like, it don't make no sense. But when the Hulk gets there, Rick then pops up on the screen and he kind of taunts Rick by asking him, like, what, are you afraid to face me? And I like Rick's response, because he's like, yeah. Kind of like, what do I look like, stupid? Like, what I look like in a chair fighting the Hulk with a Hulk killer gun. Like, man, please, I had two men in the truck on speed dial, bro. But in this moment, for this brief moment, they have this very intriguing conversation, because when Rick calls him crazy, Hulk lets him know, like, from his perspective, he's the only one who's thinking clearly with seeing this world for what it is, saying it's a wasteland and that it's toxic. And from the perspective of the Hulk, like, he woke up into this world, like he was just shot into it from what he believed to be the 21st century, and he was caught up with this future and all these events, like, back to back to back. While on the flip side, Rick and the others, they lived through this past 100 or so years. And for those who aren't Rick's age, they were born into this world, so they just don't know any different. But for a while, it gives us a bit of this standoff between one person who's just shot into this world at this time and the state that it's in, versus someone who's slowly seen it become what it is. And that's really just like your general clashing of perspectives, because the Hulk then tells Rick, like, you were a Hulk at one point, this could have been you, which kind of had me curious. Like, I'd wonder what an A-bomb Maestro might look like. And I don't know if that story would be good, but I'm not sure how he'd look. It can go either way. But towards the end of this conversation, Rick then tells the Hulk what we've heard him say before, which is essentially that the son has now become the father, which we know Bruce didn't like. And just before Rick hangs up, he's like, goodbye Bruce, and he blows up the bunker with the Hulk in it. And I'm pretty sure that was Rick's plan as soon as he knew that the Hulk was coming for him. And I mean, he probably had a better plan to, you know, shoot the Hulk with a Hulk killer gun as soon as he came down there, but somebody wasted that idea. And because of that, they just had to settle for a remote explosion. But right after this, when the Hulk climbs out of this hole and he's met by the minister, and the first thing the Hulk asks him, I'm like, was everybody up here okay? And I'm just thinking, like, who? The people you tried to feed to the dogs of war? Because they're alright, actually, thanks. Like, they're actually okay. And like, as it turns out, they were just a safe distance from the blast radius, to where they escaped death once again. But for the Hulk, after climbing out of this crater to where the minister, he's like, let's get back to the castle, get situated. But then he asks him, like, which name would you rather go by, either Banner or the Hulk? And he tells him here that he's outgrown both, and from this moment forward, he'll go by Maestro, cause it's a good name and why let it go to waste. But even with that, like, it's kind of crazy, cause had we been given a different story of how the Hulk got the name Maestro, and I mean prior to this point we did get the bit of the college background with him having that nickname in school, but I mean had we gotten the story of the Hulk just saying, you know what, I'm gonna take over the world today and just beat up Hercules, and it just took us on a sequence of everything just working out in his favor, like I'll admit, like that would have felt kind of weird. But instead, like with Peter David giving us the story to where a lot of things have not worked out in his favor, it really makes this whole journey sound like more of a truthful story, because there were so many layers that came into play as far as why he became this way, and then after acting upon it, like a lot of things went wrong. But even still, and with help, he made his way to the throne. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the Patreons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so you can head to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let me know like what are your thoughts on the journey and the makings of Maestro. But let me know in the comments below, and we'll do it again in the next one. Alright, later.